Well, welcome to Beat Diabetes, and today we're talking spaghetti. You know, when I first started low-carb eating, and that is the way to beat diabetes in case you're curious, but when I first started eating low-carb, there were several things I really, really missed, and I was so ignorant. I didn't know there were even substitutes for anything. But I tremendously missed pancakes. Didn't take me too long to figure out you can make low-carb pancakes. I've got a video about that. I'll put a link in the description. And so that really helped, just having low-carb pancakes. And I really missed pizza. And then I figured out how to make low-carb pizza. And I've got videos about that. I'll put a link in the description. And there are ways to do it using either a low-carb tortilla or a homemade low-carb tortilla. And you can pile all the pizza ingredients on it, and boy, it's good. And ice cream, I found a substitute for ice cream. I'll put a link down in the description about that. And it was great, just as good as real ice cream. In fact, it really is real ice cream. It's just not made with sugar. So I found substitutes for a lot of things that were not just manageable, not just, well, I guess I'll live with this, but I found some substitutes for various foods that I just loved. But spaghetti was not so easy. I remember I ordered some spaghetti fake noodles from the Atkins company, a low-carb kind of a noodle, and they were terrible. I mean, the first time I took a mouthful of them, I was disgusted, and they quickly got thrown in the trash. And so I heard that somewhere that you can use spaghetti squash, and that did work. It wasn't bad. It was actually pretty good. I was talking about spaghetti squash on one of my videos, and somebody said, yeah, but that's not real spaghetti. And I mean, that's true. It's not even close. Because when you use spaghetti squash, the noodles that you get, if you want to call them noodles, they just are not pasta. They don't have the texture of pasta. They just don't quite match up. They're not bad, but they're not pasta or even close to it. So the other day, I ran out of the spaghetti squash. You know, one of the problems with spaghetti squash is you make your squash, you bake it, and you cut out all the little fake noodles, and then you make your spaghetti sauce, and you hope that they match, but a lot of times they don't match, and so you end up using up the sauce and you still have noodles, or using up the noodles and you still have sauce. In this case, I must have bought a very small spaghetti squash because I quickly used up the spaghetti squash and I had lots of sauce left over. So next time I was at the store, I bought one of these. Actually, I bought several of these. I think about 4 of these zucchinis. Because you can make a zucchini noodle, a zucchini pasta, you might say, out of zucchini. Now, I've done this before, many years ago, and I wasn't overly impressed at first because I found that when you eat them raw, which is how I started out doing it, they really weren't that good. To me, I mean, some people like them that way, so I'm not going to say nobody would like them that way, but for me, they weren't that good. They certainly didn't remind me of pasta in any way, shape, or form. But after a while, I got to thinking about, well, I wonder if you cook them, how that would turn out. And I began to fry them and put a little salt on them, and they were so much better. So anyway, the other day I got to thinking about, well, I'm either going to buy another spaghetti squash or buy a couple of zucchinis. I ended up going the zucchini route. Now, that meant I brought this baby out of mothballs. I haven't used this in several years. This is a zucchini noodle maker. And I'll show you in a little bit how to make zucchini with these. These are not very expensive. You can get a hand version of it that's even cheaper. But I like this quite a bit, and it works well. So I made some zucchini noodles using that device, and then I fried them. And I fried them in some olive oil, I think it was, or coconut oil, avocado oil, some kind of a reasonably good oil. And I sprinkled a little salt and pepper on them and then poured my spaghetti on them. And it was good. It was actually quite good. In fact, better than I could remember. And I'm like, where have you been all my life? I should have been making these zucchini noodles all along. And interestingly, one zucchini will make about one serving for one person if you get a pretty good sized zucchini. If it's too small, it may even take more than one. Now, let me talk about the sauce for a minute. The best way to buy spaghetti sauce, if you're going to buy it, now some people make it themselves and they have their way of making it very low carb that way. But if you're going to buy it, go through the store shelves and just check on the carbs versus the fiber and see how low can you go. And that's what I did today, actually. And this one's got 8 grams of carbs for a half cup serving. And 2 of those are fiber, so 6 grams. But you're not really getting 6 grams if you eat a half cup. Because, at least I wouldn't be, because I'm going to make ground beef. I'm going to make hamburger, chopped up hamburger, and put it in the sauce. So when your sauce is done with the hamburger plus the sauce, a half cup is not going to be a half cup of sauce because it's going to have some hamburger in it. So really, it's going to be cut down even further. So that works for me. I've tested myself, and check out the video. We'll put a link in it about the test, which is regular spaghetti versus zucchini spaghetti versus the spaghetti squash. So I'm going to make this downstairs and just kind of give you an example of how this works. This is a way you can have spaghetti, and it actually tastes pretty good. And believe me, I'd tell you if it wasn't any good. And on most of the things that I make as a substitute for high-carb foods, if they don't taste good, I'm done with them. I just won't eat them. So let's go downstairs right now and see how it works. Then we'll come back and I'll give it the taste test. These spiralizers are very simple and they work very well. The first step is to activate the suction cup at the bottom of the spiralizer using the little switch at the back so that the device will not slide all over the counter. You'll need a hard, slick surface or the suction cup may not hold. After washing my zucchini, I cut off its ends and then place it in the spiralizer, keeping pressure on the zucchini. And then I simply turn the handle while keeping pressure on the zucchini. I keep on turning that handle until it won't go any further, and then gather my noodles together and place them in a frying pan. Give them some salt and pepper as you like, and fry them in medium or higher heat for about 5 minutes until they get a little wimpy like a good noodle should be. Stir and turn the noodles as you fry them and then take them out of the pan. If they still seem to need a little more wimpicizing, you could microwave them for a minute or 2. Put your warmed up sauce over them and you have a pretty nice little spaghetti dinner. So I have a nice spaghetti dinner, and not exactly with the normal pasta, but let's just see how it tastes. It's actually quite good. I wouldn't say it's 100% as good as regular pasta, but it's getting up there. And this is more than just manageable. This is pretty good. Now, here's something you need to know about zucchini. They're one of the highest plants you can eat for water percentage. They're up there just below the cucumber, and the zucchini is about 94% water, which means they're not very filling. So if this was my whole meal, I would not get filled up. Ergo, couple of additions. One, my old friend Mr. Cheese. I can always count on him to fill me up if my main dish doesn't fill me up. I use cheese a lot as a side dish. No, it's no longer potatoes. It's no longer French fries. It's more salads and cheese. And then a low-carb muffin. Benedicta made these for our board meeting. They're actually very tasty. So between the cheese and the low-carb muffin and the zucchini spaghetti, I'll be quite well satisfied. Will this affect my blood sugar? Well, I'm not going to test this time, but you can go to the test I did earlier. There'll be a link in the description, and you'll find these zucchini noodles do not do much at all to blood sugar. So try it. Think you'll like it. Benedict and I do have another YouTube channel besides Beat Diabetes. I'm talking about our Bible teaching channel. On this channel, we usually have 3 different types of Bible studies posted every week. On Mondays, I do a video devotional, which is a short talk about various Bible topics, normally lasting about 8 minutes. On Thursdays, you can see Benedict and me sitting around our dining room table studying the Bible together. And usually, a couple of other days in the week, we post audio podcasts. There's no video connected with these. They are strictly audio only, which means you can listen to them as you go for a walk, drive in your car, or prepare your meals. There's nothing to look at, but plenty to hear. So check out our Bible YouTube channel, which goes by my name, Dennis Pollock. A link to this channel is in the description.